Medieval cat laws. Laws for your medieval cat in the Middle Ages? Cats could save your life or get you fined. Believe it or not, there were actual laws that protected and sometimes punished cats. From royal privileges to accusations of witchcraft, let's uncover the strange and fascinating world of medieval cat laws. No. 1. A royal pain in the royal ass. Cats have always been associated with certain unsavory characters, namely those who practice witchcraft. In the Middle Ages, this stereotype reached new heights when, in 1233, King Louis IX of France passed a law that fined anyone who struck a cat 3 lashes. This law was created to protect cats from harm, because they were believed to be familiar with witches. The trouble started when people began accusing their neighbors of being witches, and more often than not, these accusations would land said neighbor's cat in hot water. The king had to intervene and remind his subjects that cats were innocent creatures who did and deserved to be harmed. Number 2. Killing cats could cost you your life during the Black Death outbreak in Europe. People began to panic. As the death toll rose, so did the paranoia. And soon people were looking for someone or something to blame. Enter cats. People started to believe that cats were spreading the plague, and that killing a cat was an effective way to prevent infection. That there was no evidence to support this claim. But this didn't stop people from taking drastic measures. In response, authorities in some areas passed laws protecting cats from harm. In England, the 1348 Statute of Labourers prohibited the killing of cats or dogs under penalty of law. While the penalty for killing a cat may have seemed like a small fine, the penalty for killing a dog was much more severe, even if the dog had bitten you. If you killed it, you could be put to death. No. 3. Thou shalt not steal, kill, or torture cats. These laws were created to protect cats from harm. In the Middle Ages, cats were seen as property and were often killed or tortured for the amusement of humans. This needed to stop, and these laws were a step in the right direction. While they didn't do much to protect cats from abuse, they did establish the idea that cats were living beings who should not be treated as property. These laws also set the stage for future animal rights movements. Number 4. A feline fancier's license to steal. Imagine you're strolling through the marketplace when you see the most beautiful cat you've ever laid eyes on. You have to have her. But there's a problem. She's not for sale. Tough luck. A 12th century English law known as the Statute of Merton gives commoners permission to steal any cat that belonged to a woman of noble birth. Now, this law may sound ridiculous, but it was actually a way for the elite to keep commoners in line. If a commoner stole a cat from a noblewoman, he could be put to death. So don't mess with cats, especially if they belong to a woman of noble birth. No. 5. Beware of dog or cat. This one might seem a little unfair, but hear me out. In the Middle Ages, dogs and cats were considered fair game when it came to hunting. After all, they were both predators. So if you found a dead animal in your garden, you had every right to assume that a wild animal had killed it. But if it turned out that a neighbor's cat was the culprit, you had the right to kill it. In fact, there was even a special term for this, Murgatroyd law. It allowed a person to kill another person, cat, if it had killed poultry or other animals on their property. However, this did not extend to dogs, which were considered to be man's best friend. So if you had a dog, you were usually able to keep it, even if it committed a crime. No. 6. No more midnight nuisances in the Middle Ages. Cats were often kept as mousers, but they could be a real nuisance at night. They would often meow loudly and disturb the peace. So it's not surprising that there were laws prohibiting cats from being at large at night. These laws were put in place to keep the peace and quiet, but they also served another purpose. They prevented cats from getting into mischief or being accused of witchcraft. After all, a cat that's out at night is more likely to be seen as a witch spales familiar than one that's curled up on the hearthrug. Number 7. Don't trust a tomcat. In many medieval towns, tomcats were banned because they were seen as a menace to society. They were known to roam the streets at night, fighting with other cats and disturbing the peace. They were also blamed for the deaths of small animals and even children. In some cases, tomcats were even accused of spreading disease. Because of their bad reputation, many towns passed laws banning them altogether. And if you owned a tomcat, you could be fined or even put to death. Do you know any other crazy medieval cat laws? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun facts about cats.